Hello, BAME Farm fans. Oh, it's a glorious time. About time for ear picking. I'm just doing a little bit of maintenance. Seeing what needs what and stuff and things and whatever we left halfway broke at the end of last season. So we got this apart a little bit. This chain guide there, this other row broke, a little weld for part of it that cracked loose, and it was just kind of flopping around. I've oiled chains. There's chains everywhere. There's more chains to oil than grease zerks, and most of the grease zerks are down here on the drive shaft on these couplings. Got to keep those splines from wearing out. So we got those. Oiled the chains. Chains everywhere. Chains, and a bunch of sealed bearings. And the only other grease zerk on this thing is, well, over the top on the main gearbox, right back there on the back side of that big pulley. It's hidden. That's really the only grease zerk, and then the rest of the grease zerks are on the back for the steering, like all the steering joints. There's a grease zerk. There's a grease zerk. I'm not gonna sit there and find them all, but you get the idea. I dumped a bunch of oil everywhere, all over the chains. Got everything all oily. Yay. Keep the paint from rusting, I guess. I really did wish it had more greasable bearings than it does. Universals on the drive shaft. Yay, grease. So now we just got some little things to deal with. We have a fuel leak. This chain guard's getting welded. I still have to clean out the air filter. I checked the oils. There's a dipstick for the engine. I changed oil last year. This thing doesn't get run enough. I'll probably want to change it every 2 or 3 years. It goes so long. The dipstick here for the main, like, gearbox coming off the engine. It's good. I don't even know what kind of oil it uses, but it always looks good. It's always full, so we're going with that. And then up here, I know this uses automatic transmission fluid. We need to add more oil to this. It manages to leak out the pump. The elevator, I thought I was going to be smart, and I'd unhooked these hoses over the last year, and it still managed to leak out. But I guess it kept it from rusting more. Didn't keep the paint from necessarily fading, but kept it from rusting, we'll say. Oh, and I got, there's the fuel leak. We can't see it right now, but when it's running, it leaks out the primer pump. No, it leaks out the primer pump when you have to use the primer pump, then maybe it stops leaking. But hopefully I can just take this out of here and put a new O-ring in it and call it a day and be on with life. If not, I have a spare Bosch pump hiding in the garage. It's off International, but the primer is the same. I got this loose with the pipe wrench. I finally got it down to where it's, say, finger tight. It's just a pipe that goes there into the back of the injection pump. And I'm hoping I don't open a can of worms. It looks like we don't necessarily have full gravity flow, so hopefully it doesn't start spewing out fuel or springs don't go flying. Everybody watch on camera. So if these do go somewhere, we know where to look. Oh, phew. Huh. It's not what I wonder what plunges in this mess. Huh. Interesting. Well, that's the inside of the hole there, just a few little holes. Yeah, I've never knew what these looked like before. Let's see how we can take this apart. It's a little grody. Well, let's clean this up. To do something. I bet we can just punch this all out. The bottom. That's gross. And that O-ring is really ugly. Look at that. If it focuses. Okay. So it doesn't look any different, but we have a freshened up little primer pump. Yeah, it's as fresh as your grandma. If I have to use it too much, I'm going to have to put a new O-ring in it, but it seals. It should seal up. I'm hoping it wasn't like a square O-ring in there or something, because it just, the old one was so eaten up. Maybe it was square. Maybe it wasn't. I don't know. It's been in there for 40 years. So we'll tighten that down and we'll start it here in a hot minute to see if we did. If I use it a bunch, I will have to put a new O-ring in it. Or maybe I can find a new primer, but typically this thing starts okay. It doesn't leak down prime. The only time I'm going to use it is when I change fuel filters. So if I got to put an O-ring in it every couple years, like I don't even put 50 hours a year on this, probably less than that. One tank of fuel was enough to pick all the ear corn last year. So it is, I guess, fairly fuel efficient, or the tank is bigger than I expect. I don't know which. Most of the horsepower is used for pulling, not for the husking bed. I mean, this all just about turns over by hand. What else did we do? Let's see if we can see. There. Everybody see the little, who sees those little white dots? Climb up on top, we can see more white dots over there. I put some screws in. There's there's barely any husking pegs. So that's gotta help. It's gotta be better than nothing. Next thing to do would be just short of getting in here with a welder and adding some little knobbly knobs here and there, especially in these low sections. Like, I thought it was a good reason. There's air gaps, let's say. We could fill those in. That would be way too much fun. I was a real monkey climbing in there. Warm enough, I think. Turn the key. Oil pressure. Safety switch bypass. Press the button. Maybe that's enough fuel. We're getting there. We're cranking faster. Oh, we got a fire. No, I just can't keep chugging. There we go. Look at that cloud of smoke. Yep. We got oil pressure. We can let go of the lever. As I raise the head a little bit, let's go get a wagon. Okay, here we go. Push the lever. We see things spinning. We already turned the four-wheel drive on, so that light lit up. I don't know how much we want to hear what's going on out there or not. Keep the window cracked. And remember just how fast we used to run. But somewhere about the T. We'll go with that. I think that's fast enough. That's how fast we used to run. Drop the head a little bit. The head drops really slow. Oh, and we can't forget we got to turn on the elevator. Push that lever a wee bit. Look out the window there. It is turning. We don't need much speed necessarily, just enough to get it in the wagon. Now, I know the corn is plenty dry. I heard a lot of reports of very dry corn everywhere. Just thanks to the drought and stuff, it dried down quick. Now we had a little bit of a lean here from Hurricane Helene, so we kind of gotta keep the head low to get underneath that. It's not going down, and it helps to pick it from the top side instead of the bottom. Well, there's corn going in the wagon. Looks like we've got plenty of shelling going on. Okay. See how fast we can go. It looks clean going in, but we gotta go jump out and check that in a minute. Hopefully there's still a little bit of dew out here. It's been kind of cloudy this morning, and that's why I'm not working on beans, because the beans aren't dry. They're dry enough. Stems will be tough, pods will be tough. Even the beans might be a little bit not dry. We see in the mirror the elevator is good and loaded up. This is what Dad left from silage chopping. Oh, a pheasant. There goes a wild turkey. Not a wild turkey, a wild chicken. See how wet the wet spot is. This will be fun. There's no water standing here. Maybe it dried up this summer. It was somehow dry enough for Dad to plant through it this spring. Whee! Slip sliding away. Everybody slow this buggy back down. Whew. Yeehaw. Now I'm probably on 2 different planter passes, so that's a real blast. Trying to keep this straight going in and lined up, depending upon how well Dad planted. We're just at home way out back, testing this out before we hit the road. One thing I need to look into, I've noticed on the newer versions of these pickers, the correct wording would be less old, is that those are a see-through plexiglass or Lexan. And I've had that plug before, especially when it's damp. When it's dry, everything flows. But I like picking with fog or dew because it makes the shucks more grippy for the husking bed. Although that makes the airflow a bit more challenging. How we doing out there? That is the only nuisance of this cab, is that corner post. It's a lot of guesswork, and we magically lose a row here. That's cool. Now we're 3-rowing it. Ooh, that's got some lean. Okay, well, at some point we'll jump off and check the wagon. But I'm gonna keep picking for a minute. Well, let's see how we're doing. We have corn in a wagon. Now, being the silage corn, this may not be as super dry. We're still getting a little bit, but I feel like we've got a pretty good husk. So I don't know, this is some different corn than some other stuff I planted, being more of a silage variety. Well, we're getting our share of shelling down there. It looks like we still have screws in place. They're still there. I mean, they're fresh. They're not going to break off quick or nothing. But I try to keep them up just like the right amount, hopefully. Somewhere down in there. Really, for jamming 4 rows of corn, that may be all the better it gets. Don't know how we lost this one. I need to find a new door for down there. I lost that a while ago. So I'd say we're doing okay. It's hard to expect any better from all these, but sometimes before, maybe if it was really dry, there'd be a real big collection of stalks. And a lot of this comes down to, well, we're using a combine corn head and not like a picker head with the bare rollers. You know, that's obviously much more common. I don't know about more common, but that's what New Idea started with. And I don't know how much they changed design to account for, you know, a combine head like this. Okay, back at it.